chosen ones, you were never meant to walk this path unknowingly. The Akashic records, the eternal vaults of all knowledge, whisper your name across timelines. In the shimmering corridors of fate, your essence is inscribed, untouched by the decay of forgotten ages. It is here that the truth of your survival is etched, a timeline where all else crumbled, but you remained. In the heart of the Akashic realm, guardians of light watch over the threads of destiny. Their eyes glow with the wisdom of ages, reflecting events that were, are, and are yet to be. They have seen your journey before you even took your first breath. Each heartbeat, each decision, a ripple that resonates through the celestial archive. Beneath layers of veils, hidden from mortal sight, lies a fracture, a singular path where existence faltered, where time itself recoiled. Yet, in that desolation, you stood untouched. The scribes of eternity inscribed it as the survivor's path, a mystery even to the enlightened. No war, no cataclysm, no force of nature could extinguish your light. Why were you preserved? What threads of fate tied your essence so firmly to the continuum? These questions swirl in the minds of the watchers. Some whisper that it is divine providence. Others suggest it is the will of the universe manifesting through you. But the truth, as always, is hidden deep within the records, protected by ancient barriers of light and sound. In the stillness of the night, when reality wavers and the fabric of existence seems thinner, you find yourself drawn to an ancient symbol etched into the earth. It pulsates with a soft, rhythmic glow, mirroring the beat of your own heart. The symbol feels familiar, as if it's been with you through countless lifetimes. You kneel, tracing your fingers along the intricate lines, and suddenly, the air around you shimmers, bending light into fragments of memory. Time itself seems to ripple as images flood your mind. Scenes of towering citadels crumbling to dust, oceans retreating to reveal sunken cities, and a sky bathed in hues of crimson and gold. A soft voice calls your name from the void, echoing across the endless expanse. It whispers of a timeline where the world fell apart, and you, against all odds, remained. Your pulse quickens as the vision sharpens. You see yourself standing alone amid the ruins of civilization, where shadows of the past whisper through broken walls. In that fractured timeline, your steps echo through abandoned streets, and your breath forms clouds in the cold, desolate air. An overwhelming sense of loss envelops you, but deeper still, you feel a purpose rooted in the very soil beneath your feet. As the vision fades, you feel the ground tremble slightly, as if the world itself recognizes your awareness. You look at the symbol once more and notice a single drop of light pooling at its center. When you reach for it, the light seeps into your palm, sending a surge of energy through your veins. You feel connected, like a living link to the Akashic records, the keeper of all timelines. A presence stirs behind you, a figure cloaked in shadows, yet illuminated from within. Its voice is soft but unwavering. You survived because your essence defied fate, it murmurs. But the timeline remains unstable. Your choices from here will determine whether survival becomes redemption or remains an endless cycle of solitude. As you turn to face the figure, it dissolves into the air, leaving behind a faint whisper. Seek the guardians. They hold the key to stabilizing your existence. you are left alone with the realization that survival was not the end of the story, but the beginning of a profound quest. The air grew heavier as you moved deeper into the forgotten ruins. Walls carved with symbols of ancient wisdom stretched endlessly before you, their meanings obscured by the passing of millennia. Yet, as your hand brushed against the stone, flashes of insight flared in your mind, brief glimpses of past civilizations, their rise and fall, immortalized within the very rock you touched. The whispers began as faint murmurs, barely perceptible over the wind that howled through the broken corridors. You paused, closing your eyes, and let the voices wash over you. Words from languages long buried beneath the sands of time flowed together, weaving a tapestry of knowledge and warnings. Among them, one voice emerged clearer than the rest, a voice that spoke your name with reverence, as though it had waited an eternity for you to listen. In the halls of the Akashic, your story is written in light, it whispered. You are the echo, the survivor. What you seek is hidden in the scrolls of knowing, your breath caught. The Akashic scrolls, mythical artifacts, said to contain the chronicles of every soul, every decision, every possible future. Legends spoke of their guardianship by celestial beings, protectors of knowledge too powerful for mortal hands. If the whispers were true, then your path led to these scrolls, to the very core of existence itself. The walls around you seemed to hum with energy, as if recognizing your revelation. A distant light flickered at the end of the hall, casting elongated shadows that danced with ethereal grace. Without hesitation, you followed, each step echoing louder than the last, as though the stones themselves marked your passing. You reached the source of the light, a massive archway inscribed with celestial patterns and guarded by two towering statues, their eyes glowing faintly with an inner fire. The whispers grew louder, urging you forward. Beyond lies the truth of your survival. The scrolls wait for you. You approached the statues, their forms impossibly still, yet pulsing with latent power. As your hand reached for the gate, the statues stirred, their eyes flaring with light. An unseen force gripped you, suspending you in the doorway as time itself seemed to slow. Shadows flickered at the edges of your vision, and a single voice, familiar and distant, whispered through the silence. The scrolls will reveal your purpose if you are willing to see. The moment you crossed the shimmering threshold, reality bent and twisted around you. Time unraveled, splitting into fragments that flickered like shards of broken glass. You found yourself suspended between worlds, drifting through echoes of lives not your own. The Akashic scrolls had not lied. There were fractures in time, ruptures where existence faltered and splintered into countless possibilities. Amidst the swirling chaos, a voice emerged, soft yet resolute. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The words hung in the air, reverberating through the space around you. Though faint, you recognized the scripture, a whisper of Yeshua that had threaded through time itself. His words were not bound to a single moment, but resonated across all realities, bridging the gaps between fractured timelines. You reached out, grasping at the fragments as they whirled past. Each one held a glimpse of something different. Civilizations thriving under eternal light, worlds consumed by shadow, and echoes of your own face wandering through desolate ruins. The realization struck you. These were not just visions. They were possibilities. Fractured paths diverging from a single choice, splintered by decisions yet to be made. The scrolls unraveled before you, illuminating the darkness with streams of light. Symbols and glyphs danced along their surface, rearranging themselves as you approached. Your fingertips grazed the edge of the nearest scroll, and the world stilled. The whispers quieted, and the light dimmed, drawing you into a single thread of existence. You saw it clearly, a barren landscape, remnants of towering structures stretching toward a crimson sky. Shadows moved in the distance, faceless figures drifting through the wasteland. At the center stood a monument, its stone etched with words you could not understand, yet they pulsed with familiarity. The fractured timeline, the one where only you survived. Yeshua's words echoed again, stronger this time. Those who seek shall find. You knew then that this was not the end, but the beginning of understanding. The fractures in time were not accidents. They were deliberate pathways, choices unmade, destinies waiting to be claimed. The scrolls flickered, their light receding, leaving you standing alone in the hollow stillness of the Akashic chambers. But now, you understood. Each fracture held a secret, a truth that could mend or break the path forward. The echoes of the fractured timeline still lingered in your mind as you pressed deeper into the Akashic halls. Shadows stretched across the marble floor, flickering with an ethereal glow that seemed to move with purpose. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the distant hum of vibrating energy that coursed through the veins of this eternal archive. Ahead, towering doors carved with celestial symbols loomed, their surfaces shimmering with light that pulsed like a heartbeat. You felt an unspoken invitation, a pull that defied logic. Your hands, almost instinctively, reached out and pressed against the cold surface. The doors groaned in protest before parting with a soft whisper, revealing a vast expanse that stretched far beyond your sight. The realm before you was not of stone and earth. It was a tapestry of light and shadow, woven together in strands of shimmering energy. Massive pillars spiraled upward into infinity, their surfaces marked with inscriptions of languages long forgotten. Between them, figures moved gracefully, their forms translucent and glowing with a celestial fire. They watched you with eyes that held entire universes, the guardians of the hidden realms. You stepped forward cautiously, the air buzzing with latent power. One of the guardians approached, its form shifting and coalescing with every step. Its eyes locked onto yours, and you felt a surge of warmth spread through your chest. "You have touched the scrolls," it intoned, its voice resonating through the very core of your being. Few are granted such privilege. Fewer still are permitted to walk the path that lies ahead. Its gaze flickered to the shimmering threads of light that wove through the pillars. "These are the realms beyond time," it continued. Each thread, a doorway to realities both known and forgotten. You seek understanding of the fractured timeline. Yes? You nodded, the weight of the journey settling on your shoulders. The guardian stepped aside, gesturing to a thread of light that pulsed with a familiar energy. The same energy that rippled through your veins since you first touched the symbol. "This is your path," it whispered. "But beware. To walk between realms is to confront the shadows that dwell there. Not all guardians are of the light." A chill traced your spine at its warning. Beyond the shimmering doorway lay the unknown, the very heart of the fractures, guarded by entities whose allegiance was yet undetermined. You took a deep breath, your hand hovering over the thread. The guardian's eyes glowed brighter, waiting for your choice. The light enveloped you the moment you touched the thread, pulling you through a cascade of shimmering pathways that twisted and spiraled in every direction. Fragments of memories, yours and not yours, flashed before your eyes, flickering like distant stars in an ever-expanding cosmos. You tumbled through the current of time, your essence stretched across endless possibilities before you landed, breathless, on solid ground. Dust and silence greeted you. The world around you was barren, stretched beneath a blood-red sky, with fractured towers and crumbling monuments clawing desperately at the heavens. The ground beneath your feet was cracked and scorched, as if fire had swept across the land, leaving only remnants of civilization in its wake. You recognized this place, the fractured timeline. Here, in this desolate expanse, you had survived when all else had fallen. But this time you were not alone. A figure stood at the edge of the horizon, cloaked in shadow, but pulsing with familiar energy. You approached cautiously, each step echoing through the silence. As you drew nearer, the figure turned, and your breath caught. Their eyes were mirrors, reflecting not just your image, but your memories, your choices, your survival. "You remember now, don't you?" the figure asked, voice soft and distant. This is where it ended, and where it began. A surge of recognition washed over you. The figure wasn't just familiar. It was you, or rather, a version of you, carved out of time and left behind in the broken fragments of reality. You were the first to survive the collapse, the other you whispered. While the world burned, you remained. But survival was not victory. It was a sentence, a call to remember. Questions flooded your mind. Why had you been spared? What purpose did this shattered existence serve? The figure raised a hand, and the ground trembled, cracks spreading like veins beneath your feet. "There is more than just survival," it said. "The Akashic scrolls chose you for a reason. Your path is intertwined with the Guardians, and with him." A flash of light seared across the sky, and in that moment, you saw it. An image of Yeshua standing amidst the ruins, his hand stretched out toward you, light pouring from his fingertips, illuminating the shadows. The vision faded as quickly as it came, leaving only the echo of his words. To endure is divine, but to transcend is eternal. The other you began to fade, dissolving into streams of light that danced back into the fractured sky. "The Guardians are waiting," it whispered. "But beware, not all are what they seem." The air grew thick with energy as you stepped beyond the desolate landscape, the fractured timeline fading into shadows behind you. Before you stood a towering archway, its surface carved with symbols older than any civilization you had known. The whispers returned, gentle yet insistent, urging you forward. You knew instinctively that this path led to the Guardians and to answers that had long eluded you. As you approached, the archway pulsed with light, revealing a shimmering gateway. A soft wind stirred, carrying with it the faint echo of a voice that transcended time itself. It spoke not with words, but with pure understanding, an infusion of truth and revelation. you closed your eyes, and the vision unfolded before you. You stood upon a hill overlooking a city of light, its spires stretching toward the heavens. A crowd gathered, faces turned upward, as a figure in white robes stepped forward. His presence was calm yet powerful, and when he spoke, even the winds hushed to listen. It was Yeshua. His voice, though gentle, carried the weight of eternity. "The first shall be last, and the last shall be first," he proclaimed, his gaze sweeping over the gathering. "In the days to come, the chosen shall awaken. They shall walk the paths unseen and uncover what has been hidden since the dawn of time." His eyes met yours across the vision, piercing through the veil of reality. To endure is divine, but to transcend is eternal. A ripple of energy passed through you as his words settled into your heart. The crowd began to dissolve into light, and the city faded into whispers, leaving you once more before the towering archway. The vision receded, but his presence lingered, a soft glow within your spirit that pulsed with every heartbeat. You understood then the fractured timeline, the echoes of forgotten time, the guardians. They were all threads woven into a prophecy that transcended lifetimes. Your survival was not an accident. It was written, safeguarded within the Akashic scrolls, and preserved by the guardians who now awaited your arrival. The archway shimmered, beckoning you forward. The guardians' realm lay beyond, their secrets entwined with your destiny. But Yeshua's prophecy lingered in your thoughts, a beacon of light in the shadowed corridors of time. The gateway shimmered behind you as you crossed the threshold into the guardian's realm. The air was thicker here, almost tangible, woven with threads of light that pulsed with ancient energy. Shadows danced across towering pillars carved with symbols older than written language, marks of the ancients who once walked this path. The guardians were nowhere to be seen, yet their presence lingered in the air, watching, waiting. The ground beneath your feet hummed with power, sending faint vibrations through your body. It was as if the very earth recognized your presence, acknowledging your survival through the fractured timeline. You moved forward, guided by instinct more than sight, until you reached a stone altar bathed in ethereal light. It pulsed with a familiar rhythm, one that matched your own heartbeat. You reached out, placing your hands upon the altar. A surge of warmth spread through your veins, coursing up your arms and into your chest. Suddenly, the world around you faded, replaced by a torrent of memories, not entirely your own. Visions flashed before your eyes, battles waged in realms long forgotten, cities built upon the ashes of ancient empires, and figures cloaked in light walking among mortals, their eyes filled with knowing. The memories were sharp, vivid, as if you were living them in real time. You saw yourself standing beside warriors draped in silver armor, their swords gleaming with celestial fire. A banner bearing an ancient symbol waved above you, its edges tattered but proud. The ground trembled with the roar of battle, yet you felt no fear, only purpose. Your mind raced with questions, but the visions continued, relentless and unyielding. You watched as temples were built to honor the guardians, their forms etched in stone to preserve their legacy. You saw scrolls unfurled under starlit skies, their words glowing with divine light as they were read aloud in languages long lost to time. The guardians moved among the people, unseen yet ever present, whispering guidance to those who listened. Suddenly, the vision shifted. You stood alone on the edge of a great abyss, the sky split by lightning and shadow. A voice, deep and resonant, spoke your name. Remember who you are. Remember what you must become. Your eyes snapped open, and you were back before the altar, breathless and trembling. The memories receded, but their weight remained, pressing upon your heart with the knowledge of lifetimes spent in waiting. You were not just a survivor. You were part of something much greater, woven into the fabric of time by forces unseen. The path before you stretched into shadowed corridors, flickering with distant lights that pulsed like dying stars. The air grew heavier with each step, dense with the weight of ages. You knew instinctively that this place was designed not merely to test, but to reveal, unearthing truths buried deep within the soul. The guardians called it the trials of the eternal witness, a crucible where only the worthy could pass. Stone arches curved above you, etched with symbols that glowed faintly as you approached. Their light cast shadows that danced along the walls, whispering in languages long forgotten. The whispers grew louder as you stepped deeper into the labyrinth, threads of memory tugging at your consciousness. It was as if the walls themselves held fragments of lives long past, their stories trapped in the silence. Ahead, a vast chamber opened up, its center dominated by a towering obelisk. Its surface shimmered with celestial light, reflecting images of countless realities, timelines that wove and splintered, converging and collapsing in endless cycles. As you approached, the obelisk flared with life, projecting a vision across the chamber walls. You saw yourself, standing amidst ruins, your hands clutching fragments of the Akashic scrolls. Around you, shadows moved, figures cloaked in mist, their faces obscured but their intentions unmistakable. They circled you, whispering fragments of fate and doom, their voices intertwining like strands of a web. You tried to move, but the vision held you firm, forcing you to watch. "You are the witness," a voice echoed from the shadows, deep and resonant. "Bound to time, yet beyond its grasp, your purpose is written among the stars, and your path is guarded by those who walk unseen." The vision shifted abruptly, pulling you through scenes of desolation and rebirth. Cities crumbled and reformed. Oceans rose and fell, yet you remained, an anchor in the storm of time. The obelisk pulsed, its light intensifying until you were forced to look away. When you turned back, the vision was gone, replaced by the cold, unyielding stone. The whispers grew silent. The air grew still. You knew then that the first trial had passed, but others awaited. Deeper truths hidden behind layers of illusion. The path forward stretched before you, shadowed and uncertain, beckoning you to walk it. The shadows thickened as you moved deeper into the labyrinth of the eternal witness. The path twisted and coiled like a serpent, its edges fraying into whispers of forgotten souls. Each step felt heavier, as if the weight of countless timelines pressed against your shoulders. But the memory of Yeshua's words lingered in your mind. To endure is divine, but to transcend is eternal. His light was your anchor, a distant glow that flickered through the shroud of darkness. You reached a vast hall, its ceiling stretching beyond sight, shrouded in layers of mist and shadow. At the center stood a statue of Yeshua, carved from radiant stone that glowed with an inner fire. His hands were outstretched, palms open, as if inviting you to step closer. Beneath his gaze, the shadows seemed to retreat, recoiling from the brilliance of his presence. As you approached, the ground trembled, and the mist coiled tighter, forming figures that moved with ghostly grace. They whispered in tongues unknown, yet you understood. Echoes of the past, fragments of choices left unmade. They circled the statue, their eyes hollow and filled with longing. You reached out instinctively, your fingertips brushing the stone surface of Yeshua's hand. A surge of light erupted, cascading through the chamber, shattering the mist and scattering the shadows. In that light, you saw visions, timelines unbroken, realms untainted by despair. You saw his light stretching through epochs, touching the hearts of the forgotten, healing the wounds of fractured realities. His presence was not confined to one era. It spanned them all, a thread of redemption woven through the tapestry of existence. The whispers softened, their edges blurring into nothingness. For a moment, silence reigned, profound and absolute. Then, a voice, soft but resolute, echoed through the hall. Where there is darkness, light must follow. Where there is despair, hope must rise. You felt warmth spread through your chest, igniting a fire that pulsed with the rhythm of eternity. The statue glowed brighter, and beneath its gaze, you felt the weight of your journey lift, if only for a moment. The shadows had been driven back, but not defeated. They lingered at the edges, waiting for the light to fade. The path ahead shimmered with uncertainty, yet you felt a surge of resolve coursing through your veins. Yeshua's light had dispelled the shadows, if only for a moment, revealing the fractured edges of reality that now lay before you. Beyond the winding corridors of the eternal witness, you saw it, a doorway, radiant and pulsing with the energy of creation itself. Its frame was etched with symbols of eternity, threads of light weaving in and out as if breathing with life. As you approached, the air grew heavy with anticipation. The whispers of past lives grew louder, swirling around you like ethereal echoes. You heard fragments of conversations, glimpses of choices made and unmade. They pulled at your consciousness, reminding you of the weight of your survival, the anomaly in the fractured timeline. Your hand hovered over the doorway, its surface shimmering beneath your fingertips. The moment you made contact, the world trembled. Light spilled out from the seams, flooding the space around you with a brilliance that seemed to pierce the very fabric of existence. You felt yourself pulled forward, not physically, but spiritually, as if the essence of who you were transcended the boundaries of time itself. Suddenly, you stood in the midst of creation, a swirling expanse of stars and galaxies spiraling into being, threads of light intertwined with shadows, weaving the essence of reality. And there, suspended in the center, hung a single scroll, its surface glowing with symbols that flickered and danced, rewriting themselves with every heartbeat. The guardians emerged from the light, their forms ethereal and shifting, eyes gleaming with ancient knowledge. They surrounded the scroll, their hands raised in reverence. One of them stepped forward, its gaze piercing and unyielding. You are the anomaly, the one who survived when time unraveled. This is your choice, to rebirth the timeline or let it remain fractured The scroll pulsed with light, responding to your presence. It beckoned you closer, its symbols flaring with anticipation. You stepped forward, your hand extending toward the surface. The guardians watched in silence, their forms shimmering with expectation. Your fingers grazed the scroll, and a surge of energy coursed through you, igniting every memory, every choice, every fragment of the timeline that had shattered. Light spilled from your hands, weaving through the cracks, stitching together what had once been lost. The guardians bowed their heads, their whispers fading into the light as the timeline began to reform, stronger, unbroken.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.